Hello, Wake Up New Zealand, Karasaki speaking. What are natural resources? Well, I have a fair idea, but I thought, let's just confirm that. I'll go on to the government website, have a look at this. So, the government describes natural resources as land, water, ecosystem, rivers, lakes, wetlands, oceans, coast, estuaries, fresh water, air, soil, water, harbours, gas, coal, natural gas, iron, sand, limestone, clay, zeolite, sand, construction, aggregate. But the top three are water, soil, and air because we can't live without them. So why did I look at that? Because under the UNDRIP, what it says is that Indigenous people have the right, the veto right, to control natural resources. So we're looking at all this. So natural resource sector partners, iwi, hapu, and the government said is critical and crucial with outcomes by central and local government agencies, NGOs, businesses when it comes to engaging with iwi. It must be with natural resources. The RMA, Resource Management Act, land intensification, water aquifers, etc., etc. So, and they also refer to the collective goal of investment in natural resources, assets, as a source of sustainable wealth. Natural resources and sustainable wealth, and iwi being in control of all natural resources. You get the picture now. So, iwi economic base in government is described as the government and iwi relationship to the natural management of natural resources. It's an iwi economic base for future investment. The rights and interests of iwi to natural resources, a better future investment. So the 13th March, Marion Hobbs in Parliament on iwi and environment management referred to the Resource Management Act, saying the government is encouraging this with management plans to allow for proactive participation of iwi around the Resource Management Act. She went on to say there's a toolkit available called Te Rangara Mahi. This is available to assist whānau iwi to develop environmental management plans. And she refers to iwi proactive to Ngā Tahu's freshwater policy, freshwater source resources, participation of freshwater management throughout New Zealand for environmental outcomes and investment for iwi. So the 11th of December, Pita Sharples in 2009, he was Maori Affairs Minister, spoke in Parliament and referred to a number of iwis. Mark Solomon, Tuku Morgan, Toby Curtis and others who had initiated discussions with the National Iwi Forum around fresh water, Tanaka Whenua engagement in freshwater underpinning the approaches for freshwater management and control in New Zealand. So there's been much talk, and it seems that the iwi, the National Iwi Forum, are the key to these talks, these discussions, these workshops across New Zealand. And they collaborate with Human Rights Commission, Claire Charters, who represents the Human Rights Commission, who is has official UN status, and the government, all of them collaborating together around iwi, Indigenous, rights and interests in land intensification and in fresh water and other infrastructure around investment. So, Stuff New Zealand reported on 20th of October 2018 the ownership of water is actually very clear. Means in part exclusive possession of something which can be kept, sold, or traded. Very interesting, isn't it? Investment in water. Stock market, you go to the stock market and you will see that water is being sold on the stock market. So it can't be said that Iwi didn't know what trading was about and what this treaty was about in 1840, because since they had already traded with settlers and knew how to trade, they had traded trinkets, muskets, and all sorts of things. They were very good traders. So we can't say they didn't know what they were signing. These iwi, these tribal chiefs, when they signed the treaty, they know about all of this. And yes, they had had lessons from the missionaries, and yeah, so there is no excuse. They knew quite well and understood that they had ceded New Zealand sovereignty over to the Queen of England. It was quite clear. So if you went to the Kohimarama conference that was held in the Anglican Mission House in 1860, 20 years on from signing the Waitangi Tribunal, the Waitangi Treaty, you would see that those chiefs, hundreds of chiefs, totally understood what the treaty meant. So I will go on to that in another video and show you the evidence how I know this for sure, and I will give you the link to that. So that will be another video. So let's talk about David Round. He's a constitutional and treaty expert and former law lecturer at the University of Canterbury, and he authored an article in the New Zealand Centre for Political Research on the 7th of October into 12. And from this article, he documented Maori water claims are just an argument over increasing valuable resource. It's also another nail in the coffin of racial harmony and national survival. And he spoke about the hard times. We've seen nothing yet, the squabbling and the remaining possessions. One racial minority group suddenly claims ownership of a vital national resource for water. Remember, water is the new oil. As I say, it's being traded on the stock market. It underpins agricultural economy, and the government is offering electricity generation and other static public asset for sale at bargain prices at the time. So all this was going on in 2012 that David Round was talking about, and he said the law is not clear. Since 1840, the common law of water applied in New Zealand. There was no private ownership of water by Maori or non-Maori. That's what he said. The 1967 Water and Soil Conservation Act vested the sole right to use natural water to the Crown. The tribunal is careless of the law. It's the Waitangi Tribunal is careless of the law, he said. Numerous claims reveal bias and partiality to claimants, and it can't be taken seriously as a source of reliable history when it comes to policy. So it is little more than a grand named Maori Iwi lobby group and he's talking about the Waitangi Tribunal as being a grand lobby group for Iwi, akin to proprietary right. So he goes on to talk about the Maori Council and its simple demand for more racial groups. So in 1999, as I said, Doug Graham in Parliament, he spoke about the Maori Council, and he was saying that the Maori Council was seeking support and help from APAC to replace New Zealand's sovereignty with a Maori sovereignty. And Doug Graham said, you'll be lucky if they're even interested. And he said, you can't have the treaty and you can't have Maori sovereignty at the same time. And he said, I don't think you're going to give up on your treaty claims, are you? You're not going to rescind that. So Pita Sharples, he has referred to a legal framework as a meaningful role for iwi governance of freshwater, the rights and interests of iwi. And then it goes on to the treaty partnership, which there's no treaty partnership saying it's the best practice for fresh water as within the treaty partnership. The water ownership should be on local and national agenda, he said, as an aspiration of co-governance. Yes, it's all about co-governance, UNDRIP, self-determination. We've gone mad in this world with self-determination revolution. It's become the tyranny of human rights. We have self-determination, LGBTQ1, self-determination, Extinction Rebellion, Black Lives Matter, self-determination, and it goes on and on and on. And this is what we've got. And you often find those faces you see at co-governance are also at these other places where there's a protest where it comes to self-determination. So we're looking at human rights as being become a tyranny, the tyranny of human rights. So the access of water, of land, around land intensification has become a self-determinating demand over everyone else, a veto over everyone else, that iwi have the rights of veto. It's their interests, their rights of veto over everyone else when it comes to land, water, infrastructure, every aspect of New Zealand. I mean, going back to natural resources, veto over the rights and interests of natural resources. And as I said, coal, oil, natural gas, water, soil, air, oceans, estuaries, lakes, wetlands, you name it. That's everything. That's every part of your life. Wake up, New Zealand.